Hello everyone, Meteorologist Jordan Darensbourg here, and I hope everyone has enjoyed their New Year's Day. I sure have. I hope everyone has enjoyed all of the college football games today, especially that thrilling Longhorns win over Arizona State. I was watching it right here in the Weather Center as I was getting everything prepped, and it was just a tense, crazy game. But with that now in the rearview mirror, let's focus on tonight's forecast. But before we get to that, we're going to talk about some of the warmest years on record. And there's something that we've noticed. It is that, hold on a second, we do have a bit of an issue there. Let me actually go on to max number 1 for that box. There we go. Now let's take a look at some of the warmest years on record. And the number 1 on this list is 2024, the year we just had, obviously. And second was 2023. So second straight year where we have set the warmest year on record at Camp Mabry. And not only that, as you can see, each of the top 5 have been since 2011. And not only that, even past the top 5, the top 9 have all come since 2000. So based off of that, we can tell you that climate change definitely is playing a role here, because clearly it is pretty clear and obvious that if you have the top 9 warmest years on record at a given location since 2000, that should definitely tell you something. Now let's take a look at today's almanac though, because it may not have felt all that toasty. It may not have felt like we just had the warmest year on record, because we only got to around 60 at Camp Mabry as well as the airport, and we were below average for this time of year, which is 62, and tragically shy of our record, which was 85. Now temperature wise, right now we're looking at upper 40s and lower 50s area wide. It is quite chilly, which is why I've got the turtleneck on for tonight. But the allergens are a bit of a story, sponsored by Ron Rock Toyota. Ash and Elm are in the low count. But look at this. Mulberry has entered the chat. It is now in the low count. Cedar's high. In fact, it's a little higher than where we were 24 hours ago. But Mold has retreated a little bit. It is now in the medium count. It was in the high count earlier this morning. Now for tonight, we are going to get possibly down to around that freezing mark over northern sections of the hill country, and upper 30s in other sections. Even some of our northern counties like Wilco and Milam County could get down to around 38 and 39 respectively, and that does include Georgetown. But it looks like Georgetown and Wilco is the only place that could get down to those upper 30s. A lot of the models do show lower 40s throughout the rest of the immediate Austin metro. Now, I think we're going to be slightly warmer for tomorrow, because we're going to get a southerly component of the wind as opposed to northerly, and that's going to allow for a good warm up. I do have us getting to around 61, but we could be slightly warmer than that. I think we get to around 63-ish, 64, maybe 65 in some spots, especially in and around the Austin metro area. Now, this is the 8 to 14 day temperature outlook. Now, this is something that I want to watch and show and watch you guys very, very closely. And I'm going to take this full as a matter of fact, because as we zoom in, we do have some areas that, as a matter of fact, do have that slight chance, even still at this point, of being below average from a temperature standpoint. Now, over the next few days, we are going to warm up before then, and I do want to remind you all that we're going to be getting to around 78 on Sunday, and then a strong Arctic cold front comes in and drops our highs to the lower 50s, and we might be getting down to those 30s as far as lows are concerned, especially for the middle sections of next week. Now, I'm going to go ahead and scroll through this really, really closely. This is the start of next week. This is after that strong cold front moved through. This is on Monday. And then Monday we stay dry. Now, this is one model, though, and I do want to caution you all, this is just one model. This is the GFS. And it does show a dry day for Monday and Tuesday. But then watch this as we head into Wednesday. Got a little bit of a coastal low coming in, and it's interacting with some of that colder air. And that's where we get chances for maybe some of that wintry precipitation. Now, something I do want to caution y'all with on this is that this is literally only just one model. I should be pointing right here. There we go. This is literally just one model right here. A lot of these other models are showing perfectly dry conditions. So, yes, I wanted to show you that this model does show this, but a key thing I want you to see and this is why I have the chances on Wednesday of only around 20%, is because that's just one model, and I'm not going to really read into that right now. However, models are more and more confident that we are going to be just downright chilling next week. First full week of the new year, we're going to be getting down to the upper 40s Tuesday, mix of sun and clouds. Then we have that light shower chance I have of around 20%. I have it as all rain at this particular point, but I wouldn't be surprised if there could be some wintry precipitation that we could be forecasting as it gets closer. But I'd also be surprised if not, because 7 days out, a lot still needs to be ironed out between now and then. So we can't really say totally for sure. We can't really lock in wintry weather. However, we are showing that one model that does show it, and this is the GFS. Now, the GFS hasn't always been that accurate when it comes to winter weather. However, in past events, we have seen Euro trends kind of shift more toward the American model. So this hopefully isn't the case. I mean, I really don't want this to be the case because this results in a lot of travel impacts and things of that nature. But I'm going to watch this really closely over the rest of this week and into the weekend, and maybe even early next week as well, because some models are starting to paint that picture. I'm not quite going there at this juncture, even though this particular model says otherwise. So really a key thing I want y'all to understand is that while the model does say there is a chance for snow, I'm not saying it yet because the model data has not necessarily aligned with it. Well, the other models haven't really aligned with this yet. This is just pretty much one model that is showing that. Now, the other models, as a matter of fact, are showing something totally different. So I'm going to take this full, and I'm kind of going to show the European look and kind of see if I can find the European model to kind of show that this is definitely not going to necessarily be the case here. So I'm going to pull this up, and I'm going to make some slight edits there. Let's see. Let's take those off. Definitely not in the 80s no more. All right, so now this does show maybe a little bit of shower activity over portions of the Rio Grande Valley. This is the European model. Shows the Rio Grande Valley, maybe some snowflakes in the Big Bend region near Marfa and those areas, but by and large, the European model not necessarily lining up with the GFS when it comes to those snow chances. So this is why we really think that we're just going to see some light rain showers at this point next week as of right now. Now, that could obviously change if the model trends shift in that direction, but we're going to really watch this for you over the next week because so much still has to be ironed out and hashed out. This is still 7 days down the line, and that's something that I really want to caution y'all on. The models are not in agreement. And when the models are not in agreement, that means that the forecast isn't going to be accurate at that certain time unless one model shifts to the other. In this case, we got to see if the Euro shifts to the GFS or vice versa. We don't really truly have a generalized idea of it. We can't really lock it in. But what we will say is that, yes, the chances are there, but the chances right now are a little on the slimmer end, especially with the European model usually being more accurate. So let's go ahead and let's do one more little recap before I step out, and I will see y'all at 10. Now, this is the UT Tower again, Congratulations to the Longhorns on such a great win. I mean, I'm proud of them. We'll see them next Friday in Arlington. But let's take a look at right now. We're in the upper 40s, lower 50s area wide. Mostly clear skies hanging around. Mulberry has entered the allergy chat. Ash and elm still there, but they're all in the low. Cedar a little higher than where we were earlier this morning, but mold has retreated back to the medium, which is somewhat good news. Tonight, getting down to those lower 40s area wide, with some areas getting down to the upper 30s, especially even northern sections of Wilco, some other northern zones like Milam County, and sections of the hill country getting down to the 30s as well. But we're going to rise right back on up to those low to mid 60s with that healthy mix of sun and clouds. And we might have a light shower here or there with that weak coastal low. It would mainly be over portions of the coastal plains. Your 8's 14-day temperature outlook does have the polar vortex moving through portions of the southeastern U.S., but we could catch a little bit of that here in central Texas when we do have the below average temperatures, probably likely over the entirety of the Lone Star State. But we are going to warm up before then, though, and we are going to have highs getting to the upper 70s with that strong cold front behind it, out ahead of it. With it being ahead of that very strong cold front and behind it, highs only getting to the lower 50s and some lows getting down to around freezing. Here is that GFS model, like what I'm talking about. And as we continue to move this forward, this is Monday, and then eventually Tuesday, and then eventually on into Wednesday. Tuesday, mostly dry as well as on Monday, but then Wednesday, another coastal low moves in, and then this model does show that wintry precipitation, but the European model does not. This is the American GFS model. So models are conflicting on whether or not we get any wintry precipitation at all. But again, keep it here with the KVU Weather Impact Team. We're going to have all the latest on it. By and large, here is your 7-day forecast, and I'm going to take this part full. We are going to warm up, getting to the mid to upper 60s by the time we get to Friday and Saturday. Sunday, I do have a 10% shower chance out ahead of that strong Arctic front moving through, and then Monday's lows getting all the way down to the upper 30s, and then getting down to the mid 30s for your Tuesday and Wednesday. Some areas on Wednesday morning could be below freezing, and depending on whether or not we do have either of those long-range models verify, that'll determine whether or not we get any wintry precipitation, especially in our northern zones. But I'm not going to really read into that at this particular stage. So this is something that we are going to continue to watch and monitor throughout the entirety of the week and into the weekend. But for now, I'm meteorologist Jordan Darensbourg. Thank you so much for joining us this evening, and we will see you tonight on KVU News at 10, recapping all of the news and weather and sports headlines. Thank you.